Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of How to Build a Game Studio. I'm Trevor Oz, back once again. This week I'm talking to Jack Steele, who's our programmer here at Winterborn. We talk a bit about his history in programming, because he's a programmer. He just hasn't always worked on video games. So we're going to talk about that and a little bit about how that translates over and what he's doing to help support himself from a skill set standpoint while working at Winterborn, because he is going back to school and getting a degree. We talk a bit about that because I was also in the process of getting my degree whenever we recorded this episode. And I can say that I got mine. Now it's time for Jack to get his. But we talk a bit about that. We talk about his love of esports and some other things. But yeah, check out the discussion, and thanks for listening.
All right, so I am here with Jack Steele,
Hey guys.
who is doing a good bit of our programming and that sort of thing at Winterborn. So Jack, how do you like it so far?
So far, it's been good. Been learning a lot. Little stressful, but overall, it's been great. It's been great working with everyone.
Tell the audience, the listening audience, however large they may be, just think it's millions of them.
Okay, no pressure.
Just yeah, no pressure at all. There's just a couple million people listening right now, and they want to know about Jack Steele. So Jack, you have a couple degrees, or at least I know you have one, and you're working on another.
Yeah. I got a degree at the University of Akron in computer information systems, and I'm currently working on towards my degree in game programming and development.
All right, so yeah, you're a hard worker. You're working on your school stuff and that. So with your first degree in computer information systems, where did that lead you? What have you done with it?
As soon as I graduated with that, I ended up getting a job at a software company. And that was about 5 years ago. I got a job at a company that processes medical billing data.
So it's an exciting line of work.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, a lot of people when they think software or programming, they go to like video games or like I don't know, a Microsoft program like Excel or something like that. Obviously yours is a bit more specialized. So what exactly do you do in a day per se?
Just in like my normal day-to-day, I mostly do a lot of the back-end programming with Java and just working on databases most of the day. Just monitoring like the flow of our data, being able to parse it correctly according to the client's needs, and just making sure it flows through our production system smoothly.
Doing that, how did you decide to kind of switch rails a little bit and start going to school for game development on the side?
Game development? Mostly just because it's always been like a passion of mine. That's always been like the ultimate goal for me, is to eventually go into game programming. It was just, starting fresh out of school, there's not a whole lot of like game programming jobs available in Ohio. And, especially just graduating, I don't exactly have the money to move to like Boston, Texas, or LA, where 90% of the jobs are going to be at. So, I decided to just get a job in Ohio and just sort of like build up my skill set just to be able to eventually bridge that gap and go into the game development field.
And I mean that's what we're doing right now. We're getting into game development. It's kind of new for a lot of the team.
Yeah.
As we're just kind of jumping in head first, which means it might be a little bumpy along the way as we get our bearing about
pretty
it.
steep learning curve along the way.
Yeah, so that's really what I wanted to talk about is how do you think it compares doing what you were doing, what you do in your day job, to what you've started to do now in Winterborn? I mean, it's early development, so how does it compare?
Yeah, like you said, it's really early stages, so we don't have like a whole lot of concrete stuff to show right now. But even the little things, like the little bits of progress that we've made so far, I just get like so much more excited about it than I would like working on something at my job right now. Just like even the smallest things, like I work on, and once I get it put together and running, I'm just like so excited about it.
You just get that feeling of joy and elation, and I get the same thing though. Anytime that like when we announced the studio,
Oh yeah.
and and we saw all these articles come out, it's like, is this a real thing? Is this something that that sort of thing? It's weird. Being on this side,
Oh yeah.
especially after we've played games and like paid attention to the video game industry for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Followed it just like all our lives, and it's always been like such a big part of our lives. Like, everyone on the team's like a pretty big gamer.
Yeah, we've all pretty much been addicted to gaming for as long as we can remember. So back to the days of Kent's house and playing a whole lot of Xbox.
Oh yeah,
And,
tons of LAN parties.
Yeah, all those Halo LAN parties. Do you think your role in your current day job has helped your skill set for programming for a game?
Oh, just to like help prepare me for what we're doing now.
Yeah.
It definitely has, because like I said, I've been there for about 5 years now, and I've learned a ton while I've been there. And it's gotten me to the point that although a lot of what we're working on now, a lot of the main parts of it, like the concepts of it, are pretty new to me. Like I've never, like you can imagine my job, I don't really work with models or adjusting cameras or worry about sound files or anything like that. So that part of it's like pretty new to me. But as far as like coding itself, like whenever I open up a game, like whenever I first started looking into it, I wasn't just looking at it being like, oh my god, what could these words mean? I just opened it up and I was like, oh, okay, it's C#. It's another programming language. So as far as that, it's definitely helped me build up a foundation to helping Kent code this. It's just learning all these new concepts that are like the main hurdles.
How do you feel that you've done while learning it so far? Has it been easy? Has it been easy? Has it been a little bit of a challenge for you, or?
Different parts. Like certain parts I pick up pretty easily, and then definitely some of the parts that, like it takes a lot of looking into, a lot of extra hours just researching online best practices and just the best way to go about doing certain things. So parts of it have definitely been a struggle, not gonna lie about that, but overall, yeah, I feel like Kent's always there. He's incredibly helpful and just so incredibly knowledgeable about everything we're doing. So he's always there to help me out if I ever need it. And for the most part, I feel, that we're making some great progress so far, especially for how new, like you had mentioned earlier, how new all the team is to so many of the things we're working on.
Yeah, we're very much all probably wearing a whole lot of different hats that we never thought we'd be wearing.
Yeah, exactly. Kent just brings up something that we need to do, and someone's just like, okay, I've never heard of that before in my life, but yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
we just gotta get it done.
Yeah, let's figure that out. What do I Google now?
Yeah, it's definitely, there's no shame in that. Google's a useful tool no matter what company you're in.
Yeah, I was speaking of that. It just came to my head. Have you used like any like outside resources, especially now that YouTube's big and stuff like that, as opposed to 10 years ago even? There's more tutorials and stuff out there. Have you found that stuff to be helpful for you?
Oh yeah, there's so much you can pull from online that people have posted, because everyone that's in the industry, I'm sure, has been in our position at one point or another, and they realize, like at this point, everyone seems to realize that there's going to be other people out there that are going to need to know this information. So like you mentioned, YouTube's amazing. We've been looking on the Monogame forums there's a ton of information out there and so many people on there that are always just so willing to help you. There's just a lot of sources online that can definitely help you along the way.
Do you feel because of all those resources, you almost get an added sense of community in there, especially on like a more specialized thing like Monogame, like the forums there?
Yeah, especially there. I can definitely see it. Even if I'm not talking like directly to them, just you'll be reading through it and people will post the exact same questions you have. So it's always like a bit better feeling when you go on there and you see, oh, there's clearly hundreds of other people that were struggling with this exact same problem. Like I'm not just a complete idiot. This is definitely an issue that so many other people have ran into in the past. So yeah, that definitely makes you feel better about it. And then there's just a ton of people that are really knowledgeable and really know their stuff that will be able to help you out if you need it.
So what did you think when Kent told you that he was going to form a studio?
Whenever Ken told me that he was thinking about doing it, I had been going to school for about 3 months or so. It was shortly after I started trying to get my degree in game development. And so when he told me about that, I originally didn't tell him that I was going to school for that because I didn't want to impact his decision or sway him one way or the other. I just wanted him to do it if he wanted to do it, not have to worry about I could get Jack on the team too to help out since that's what he's going to school for. So whenever he said he was thinking about it, I was just thinking, please do it, please do it, please do it, please do it.
But you didn't want to put the pressure on him, though. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Forming a studio is a big decision. It's a big life change.
Yeah, so I didn't want to add anything to that. So I just kept that to myself, but I was really hoping he'd go for it. And when he finally announced it, I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. I'm just starting to learn about a lot more game concepts like modeling and creating an in-game environment and stuff like that. And so now I actually have a few more tools just to help them out and everything.
So with what you're currently learning, are you seeing a parity between what you're learning and what you're actually doing, and how it's they're kind of both helping each other?
Yeah. More so just helping, the school helping me out with Winterborn. Some of the stuff I've worked on with Winterborn, I can definitely see will help me in future classes. Mm-hmm. But for right now, what I've learned in school definitely has helped me along the way. Just the way of analyzing a game and viewing in-game assets and how they all work together, and just the flow of what how certain parts of the game should go. That part from schooling has definitely helped me whenever we've talked about all the new stuff in Winterborn.
That's awesome. And it's funny because I'm in school too. And this is my last semester for my degree.
Oh, okay.
But
nice.
it's funny because I have a class game production and marketing. And
really?
Literally,
is that what you're taking now then?
Yeah. So, but literally it feels like every assignment I'm just well, I just went through this with Winterborn, so let's just type up and answer that question about that.
Exactly, yeah.
It's
already faced this before.
Exactly. It's interesting, and it's weird in a sense too, because it's I just want to essentially make my school projects hey, I'm doing this here teacher, get sick of me talking about Winterborn, the company that I...
Yeah, what's this made-up company Winterborn? Why do you talk about it and love it so much?
Please, teacher, go follow us at Winterborn Games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was excited for the studio to open up too, especially when Ken mentioned it, because I know he debated it for a little bit there. About what he wanted to do next.
Yeah, he was on the fence for a little while.
Yeah, because he wanted to move forward with something, but I just, it's a big decision. I mean, It's leaving a lot of money on the table to basically say, hey, I'm going to make my own game.
Yeah. I'm gonna wing it.
Yeah, and not a lot of people want to take that risk.
Oh yeah.
So I'm glad he did it, obviously, because now I'm here doing this, talking to you on a podcast that, like I said, a couple million people will listen to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely millions. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited too. When we had the team together, it was just amazing how well we all flowed together as a unit.
Oh yeah.
And how we've worked off of each other. I think that's definitely one of the best parts, I think, about the team, is that we all work well off of each other, and the sum of the parts become a really great whole. What about the upcoming process, stuff that you haven't started yet? What are you most excited about getting into?
As far as stuff that I'll work on,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really excited because we don't have a whole lot planned out past this next sprint. But I'm mostly just gonna be excited when we start bringing it all together. Because right now it's like Kent and I are working on like two separate pieces of the game right now, and just it's pretty awesome. Like we've done it once before where we're both working on something separate, and then we both finish what we're doing and then bring it together and show like both of them combined, and it's pretty awesome when you see all of that working together. So I'm gonna be working on some camera work right now, while he's working on like the in-game grid, and I think once we bring both of those together, that's when I'm just like blown away when we see like the two pieces coming together to make something awesome. Awesome to us at least. It's probably something pretty insignificant to most people, but just me seeing like pieces of the game that we made just like blows my mind. And
it's seeing parts of the whole too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird seeing the progress, especially for me, because like I like pretty much sit back and like watch, and I can only talk about or share or only do certain things. So like, there's a lot of stuff there where I'm just like, man, this stuff was so cool to me, and I just want to like just share it. Like, I mean, every time we have Moody sharing a new piece of art, it's like what next? I want to show this to people.
Oh yeah, Moody. That's what with Moody's work. That's the stuff that's like the most I don't know, like concrete, like all the visuals and stuff that you see. That stuff I just get like so excited over when I see it.
Well,
and I'm the same way. I want to like show everyone. I want to just be like, everyone, look at this. This is so cool.
Well, and for us too, because we played Kent's game for a long time, and we're actually we know the story because we played it over the course of a decade, essentially. Well, maybe not quite a decade, but a long time.
If not, it was close to it. It was a real long time.
Yeah, so it's just it's really cool to see that stuff come to life, especially for something that you've known about in your head and you saw in your head, but now to actually see it on paper from someone that is actually artistically inclined.
Yeah.
Because I mean, my drawings are pretty much stick figures.
Exactly. I'm sure we've tried in the past, and it's just been a miserable monster of an image.
It's definitely way better when you have an artist.
Yeah.
That's for sure. If you had a game out there that made you think, like, is there a game out there that made you think, this is what I want to do with my life?
Like any games that inspired me to actually go into it? I can't even pinpoint like one in particular. I think it was mostly just probably back on like the Sega Genesis when I started playing the old Shining Force games.
Mm-hmm.
I think those were the first games that just like really made me like in love with gaming. And I don't know if it was like what necessarily made me want to take that career path, but I just knew I definitely want to do something with games. Like this was such a big part of my life that I definitely want to do something something with it in the future. So I guess I would say the Shining Force games. But for me, I guess that's mostly what was like the catalyst that started all of it. And from there, I just started playing more and more games, and it ended up just becoming like my number one hobby.
Yeah, that's it's funny. The Shining Force games are ones that I totally missed.
Oh yeah.
When I was growing up, and it's one of those that I'd like to go back to and check out. It's just it's sometimes hard to go back to older games.
Exactly. At this point they're very old school.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to
they were
like.
good.
Yeah, it's hard to jump back in.
Yeah, and show them like the same appreciation when they're just so old.
Yeah. Are there any games currently that inspire you to keep doing what you're doing?
To keep going? Yeah, I definitely play games a lot less now. Just with like 2 jobs in school, it's a little harder to find time to play them. But I'd say the ones that are most inspiring would be now. Definitely look more towards the indie games because I can just like appreciate them so much more now because I know like how there's such smaller teams that are still able to like put together some amazing games. And I know like recently Wargroove, I started playing it a lot, and I think that's great, especially since I loved the Advanced Wars games in the past. And so you definitely get that vibe from it. And I think that's been one of the most inspiring recently, just because it was a smaller team, an indie game, and they're able to make like a really kick-ass RPG.
Yeah, and it's interesting the stuff that they have in there, like they have that asynchronous multiplayer.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even tried that out yet.
Yeah, where you can just it's like playing Words with Friends except with tactical RPGs, where you can make a move and then you just set it and forget it until it's time for you to make a move again. Then you get like a notification that tells you, hey, you need to make a move now because the other person made the move.
Awesome.
Yeah, like that stuff's cool. Like you can create like whole campaigns in it. Like they're doing some cool stuff with that game. Yeah, I would definitely say that's definitely one up there that I've been digging this year for sure. So Jack, you're a big League of Legends fan.
I dabble.
You dabble?
Yeah, just been playing it since like shortly after beta, about like a decade ago. Probably have several thousand games in that. So yeah, I've definitely played some League of Legends over the years.
So for a game like the League of Legends, what keeps you coming back to it?
For League, part of it's probably just like I played it so much over the years that it's just like integrated itself as part of my life. Like I've just played the game for so long. But a lot of it is just like trying to just get better at the game. Like the whole player base is slowly getting better, so it's like keeping up with other people's skill level and as well as like pushing your own skill level further and learning more about the game. As well as I'm pretty into like the competitive scene. I'd say these days I probably watch more League of Legends than actually like playing it because I like seeing the pro games.
So do you follow any player specifically, or do you follow a team? Or?
Yeah, I follow most of like the North American and the European teams, and then I also watch some teams in like the LPL and the Chinese league and the Korean league. So yeah, I keep up pretty well on the pro League of Legends scene.
I know you've been to a few events, haven't you?
Yeah, I have been to the World Finals back when they were in Chicago. And then the North American Finals up in Boston. We went and saw it the 1 year.
So I don't know how many like others like not e-sporting events that you've been to, sporting events in general, but how do you think are those on the same level? Do you think?
Oh, like esports competition versus like a traditional sports?
Yeah, I mean just more in the sense of, do you feel like there's that excitement when you're there in the room? Like
Yeah, there's definitely fans are just as passionate in both. I would think. I would say in traditional sports, like there's definitely an added level of aggression. Like opposing fans seem to be much angrier at each other, but at an esports event, it's pretty cool. Just that like most people love the individual players over the teams themselves. So you'll go to an event where like sometimes I go to an event and I'm like, I don't even care who wins. I like both teams. So it's kind of weird. It's definitely different in that aspect.
There's more of like almost like a respect for the game where you want to just see who the best person is.
Yeah, exactly. People are. It's not like if you go to the like OSU Michigan game I've been to. It's not like you go there to watch OSU. It's like you're going there to watch League of Legends. So it's definitely different. Yeah, different atmosphere.
So in that sense, do you feel like there's a lot of team pride, or if it's just pride in general based on the game itself?
A lot of team pride. It's hard to say in like North American based events. It doesn't seem to be as much. It's mostly like when it goes into the world tournaments where like the individual team pride comes through, because it's like you want to see your North American team finally beat like a Korean or Chinese team. It's like you want to finally see them like go further, because they typically get knocked out very early on in the stage, in the different group stages. But like when one of your teams makes it, and everyone's just like screaming for NA and just like so pumped about it.
Do you follow a specific team? Like any like real like specific ones?
Yeah. I follow C9. C9's my go-to. They're my boys. And then I also like a couple of the other teams. Like I follow this team 100 Thieves pretty closely, just because they were sponsored by like the Cleveland Cavs. So I consider them like Cleveland's esports team, to the point where like I went out to a company baseball game, and they all made the mistake of telling me that I had to wear my favorite Cleveland gear. So I wore my 100 Thieves jersey. So I just show up and they're like, what the hell is 100 Thieves? And I was like, well, I'm glad you asked. It's Cleveland's premier esports team.
So they all show up probably in traditional sports gear.
Yeah, they were all wearing like Indians gear.
Indians? Okay.
Like everyone. Yeah, we were just at like an Indians game, and
So
yeah, they were all wearing like baseball jerseys, and I show up in a 100 Thieves jersey. It was great.
I mean, what were the looks on their faces?
It was mostly a lot of confusion, like, what are you wearing? And then a lot of people will ask me like, so what are you actually wearing right now? Or a couple people like picked up on the logo. They're like, what is 100T? And I'm like, oh well, let me tell you. And then they all pretty much just rolled their eyes and called me an idiot once I explained it. But hey, I repped my Cleveland gear.
But hey, I mean, the thing is, like, esports is getting like pretty interesting. Because you see a whole bunch of sports teams and sports people who have spent a lot of money in sports now getting behind esports as well.
Oh yeah, it's getting some like significant funding now. Like the Houston Rockets backs a League of Legends team. The Golden State Warriors, they back a team. Cleveland Cavs. Like there's some really big names buying into the different esports scenes now.
It's pretty interesting. Did you ever think that professional, like, because obviously even when we were growing up, professional gaming was kind of a thing. It was starting to become a thing.
Yeah, there were like you always heard about like some big Halo tournaments.
Yeah,
or some big like Counter-Strike tournaments that.
Yeah, like guys like
Fatality. $10,000.
Yeah, like, so I mean, there was always like a competitive gaming thing, at least at a certain point in time, like late 90s. beyond, but I would have never expected it to get as huge as it's gotten.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I never ever would have imagined that it would be like on ESPN. Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's it. It made it. It's mainstream. Like it's insane how far it's came along the years.
Yeah, that's definitely, that was kind of like the turning point for me too, because I don't watch esports, so that's why I have to ask you, because I have no idea on my own. But I just find it fascinating that has become that video games have become a sport. So I mean, it almost branches out, and like it really shows that like video games are for everyone in a way.
Oh, absolutely.
They encompass so many different parts of our lives, whether it's, you know, like esports or and what you get into now. You can watch it on ESPN. I mean, it's insane to, even as much as, you know, playing a simple game on your phone to kill some time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's super cool. Anyway, Jack, so I want to thank you for being on this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, it was a fun talk, and we'll be on in the future. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about some more like nitty gritty stuff down the line once we actually have stuff to put out there. But,
yeah, a little further down the road.
But yeah, we'll definitely have you on more, and we'll talk more about games and stuff. Because we're all pretty passionate about that, so we'll actually start getting into some games discussion. But I think this was a good way of introducing you to whatever audience or whoever may play our games in the future. So yeah, it was good to have you, Jack.
Yeah, thanks again.
All right, that's the episode for the week. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can follow Jack Steele on Twitter at MFTankBeast. And you can follow me on Twitter at Trevor Oz. That's OSZ is my last name. And if you want to follow Winterborn, you can follow us on all social media at Winterborn Games. You can go to our website, winterborngames.com, and follow us on any of those websites. We appreciate you listening to the podcast. If you would like to help us out and help our discoverability on iTunes, please go there and make sure to rate and review us. And if you have some sweet reviews, we'll try to read them on the podcast from time to time. But yeah, we just appreciate that you're listening. But next week we're going to start a more traditional podcast format. We're going to have a bunch of us from the studio all talking together. We're going to talk a bit about the studio, and then we're going to go into talking about some of the games that we love. I believe next week is our favorite RPGs. So if you want to listen to that and give us feedback on that as we try to figure out our groove as we bring in a group of us from the studio, we appreciate any feedback. And if you have any questions for us, you can send those to social media at winterborngames.com, and I will read every single one because that's my job. And all right, guys, thanks for listening.